All right, everybody. So, welcome to a series of vulnerability with Kayla. You guys may or may not have read my post about my weight loss journey and my struggles with eating. But if you did, that was my part one. And this is going to be a series going through each one. And today we're going to sit down and talk about postpartum depression and what it's like being a mom in today's world. So, Kayla is a mom, and so I'm going to let her take it over and kind of explain what her momming is that she does.
So, my little girl is almost 2. She'll be 2 next month. Her name is Willow Ann. I love her, and yes, it's crazy. I have a full-time business that I do, Kayla How Big Photography.
Here?
Yeah, at the studio. We're at the studio now. Woo! I'm going to school right now, and...
What are you going to school for?
For my holistic nutritionist certificate.
Ooh.
Yeah, so excited about that. Hopefully tie it into all the yoga stuff, and we might have some announcements later on.
Scandalous.
So, where do you want me to start?
So, because her husband's name is Nick.
Yes.
So, how did you and Nick decide that you wanted to become pregnant?
Oh my goodness. Well, this is probably kind of crazy. We got, not necessarily bored, but tired of worrying about ourselves all the time. We were like, what are we doing? We're just doing the same thing, just worrying about ourselves. So we actually said, do we want to move to California for a couple years and live out in the desert, because that was like a dream of ours, or do we want to have a baby? And we picked a baby.
You still go to California.
And then we got married at our baby shower.
2 birds, 1 stone. That's what we like.
So, it took me 7 months to get pregnant. I was on birth control for 11 years, so I was like, this could either take a really long time or it could not take any time at all. So it was about 7 months, and we moved from our apartment into our house that we live in now when I was pregnant, which was exhausting. And yeah.
So it took you 7 months to get pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it took a while.
Mm-hmm. It took a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But we weren't like, oh my gosh, it was just like, whatever happens, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yes. So
that's the fun part.
For you, like, when that moment happened, like, you became a mom, were you like, just like, oh shit, like Nick?
I was like, oh my God, what do we do? Nick was actually home. He was home when I took the test. Actually, my friend Jessie was like, have you started your period? And I was like, no, I'm a couple days late. And she's like, you should take a pregnancy test. So thanks, Jessie. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. So but we were very fortunate, because I know a lot of people struggle with that a lot. So I am so thankful. And I used to do the stillborn hospital pictures. So I always said that when I was pregnant, one day when I got pregnant, I would try to soak it all in and try not to complain about it, even though I threw up daily, multiple times a day for 14 weeks straight. And I was like, just think about how lucky you are. Just think of how lucky you are. And yeah, so that got me through it, because I saw a lot of mommies not be able to take their babies home, but it still sucked.
Side note.
I slept with a box of Cheerios for 14 weeks. I would eat them throughout the night so I would not wake up and throw up. But then after that first trimester, that was one thing. I loved being pregnant. I know some people do not like it. I was very fortunate to have a comfortable pregnancy, oh my gosh. And that's actually when I started struggling, is when I had Willow. I was sad to not be pregnant anymore.
Oh.
It was so quick.
Yeah, the change.
Mm-hmm. So. I went into labor at home. I was also very blessed to have a really awesome labor. Well, I guess awesome, I don't know, smooth. For my first contraction at home to when she came out, it was less than 5 hours.
Everybody's gonna hate on you real hard.
I know. It was intense. But it was less than 5 hours, and then we were only in the hospital for 30 hours, and then we went home, and I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? It was I had no time to process. We had 14 visitors. We had 14 visitors at the hospital, and we had someone over every single day for the first 23 days we were home, which is the one thing that I wish I would have done different because I was worried about being a people pleaser instead of taking care of myself. And it was very stressful because I was trying to learn how to nurse, and it was just insane. If I had to give advice to anyone, it would be to not worry about other people so much after they have a baby, because I was not very good at that at all. Like, I was, like, on my phone, like, texting people, like, yeah, come on, and, like, oh, my gosh, I don't know.
That's how you care yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, like, 80% of...
But there's pressure. Like, it's so much pressure.
That's, like, 80% of moms experience baby blues. So it's, like, the sadness that you feel, and 20% of moms, when they deliver, experience postpartum depression.
Really?
Yes. And so... the stigma is out there, postpartum depression, and depression in general, people just don't talk about. So did you experience kind of like the blues you talked about, like once you delivered?
Yeah, so it was really weird. I don't think that I like realized that I was having some kind of like postpartum depression because I wasn't necessarily sad. I was just very anxious, and I was having a lot of like obsessive, like compulsive thoughts, which this is going to sound ridiculous, but I don't care. Like, anytime I would walk past, like, our dryer or our washing machine, I would be like, oh my God, what if Willow got stuck in the washing machine? And then I would, like, literally think about her, like, drowning in the washing machine, or getting stuck, or being in the dishwasher, or being in the microwave, or me falling and tripping and her landing on a knife, or I don't know. And, like, I could not stop thinking about it. It's like how I went all the time. Which is why I got really into yoga and got into the eating, like trying to eat clean. Thankfully, my mom is inspiration for my eating habits. But you have your baby and you're trying to nurse, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to make sure I eat enough to make this much milk, and like blah 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 blah. And so I was eating like pancakes and peanut butter, bagels, like tons of carbs, and like the more that I ate that sugar, the like literally the crazier that I got. So yeah, and so once I changed my eating habits a little bit, it got a lot better. And exercising and changing my eating, it started to make it better.
Yes.
But it was, I mean, even now, like, being a mom is so vulnerable. Like, it's insane. Like, you feel like you will, like, absolutely die without your little person, or I do. Like, you think about it, like, what if they weren't there? Like, I would not be able to live. And so, like, you think about just the craziest shit, like.
So, fast forward to now, would you say that you have more anxiety with Willow rather than depression of being a mom? Not necessarily the word depression, but sadness, like your hormones are still kind of crazy, even though she's about 2.
So, I feel like my hormones have balanced out. I nursed her for 15 months. She weaned herself. I got very lucky with that. Like, woke up the day she turned 15 months. She nursed that morning, and then she never nursed again. She never tried. I actually took a pregnancy test because I had heard like if kids like stop nursing that quickly, that it's like a hormone change, and they know.
Yep.
And I was not pregnant. Still not pregnant. I'm not ready to do that again. No, it took me, I feel like, once I got done nursing, my hormones started to balance out. But which is like one of the main things I wanted to talk about, and I tell all my newborn clients this, that there is so much pressure on when you have your baby, like, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it. Like, you feel this overwhelming like joy, and you love your baby so much, and like connection. There's this like you'll never feel the love that you feel when you first see your baby, and that did not happen for me. And I'm getting goosebumps. Like, it did not. And then I was like, oh my gosh, is something wrong with me? Like, I felt the, like, instinctual, like, I'll kill you if you try to take my baby away from me. But I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I love this human, like, so much. Now I'm like that. Like, we've built our connection. It just took time.
Yeah.
And so, when Willow had colic, she had colic horribly. She had food allergies, so I had to figure out my diet to help her diet,
Nurse.
which took like 6 or 7 weeks to like get out of my system. So she literally screamed for the first like 4 or 5 months unless I had her on my chest. So like it was like there was so much like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong with her that I didn't, and like, oh, I gotta make sure all these people come and visit her, they're gonna be mad at me. I didn't have time to like soak her in, really.
Right. And that's like, so I want to go back to the part where you said you didn't have the connection with her, but you loved your pregnancy. And so with your pregnancy, like talking to her, rubbing your belly, did you do anything like that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, we used to put headphones on her, like we did the whole shebang. Oh, I felt like super nostalgic when I was pregnant. I was like, I felt
connected.
Like I felt sexy during my pregnancy.
Okay.
I felt like powerful and just like, and then when she was in the world, and like people have a lot of different opinions of this, but I got my epidural. I did get an epidural, and I got it like at the last minute. Like I can't believe that they let me get it. Like she was trying to come out of me.
They gave it to you.
When they were doing my epidural, and like I laid down and had to start pushing her out, and I had it so in my head that I wanted it to go differently than that, but like I just I didn't really have the right support there to like keep going with the intensity of it. And I honestly think that like set me out of whack a little bit, like not being able to feel and like
not going the way you
I
wanted.
read a lot about that last like feeling of you like birthing your child and how like important mentally, which I mean that I'm just into that kind of stuff. So not everyone thinks, not everyone cares, or that doesn't affect everyone, but I swear that it threw me into some kind of weird, like it didn't let me process it. It was like I was pregnant and then I didn't have, you know, she came out and it was fine. And then she was mine. And then I just had to wait for like that epidural to wear off. And I still have back pain from that.
What do I do?
2 years later.
What do I do with the child?
I know.
So
it was weird.
So fast forward to after you had her, you said you didn't, not that you didn't have a connection, you just didn't feel that. So many moms struggle with that feeling because a lot of people come in
like rainbows and butterflies.
Their families,
like,
their families tell them, their loved ones, their family, their friends tell them, everybody, like, you're gonna have this moment. And it's like paints this picture. And then it gets in your head like, oh, and then they don't have that. And so it's like, it's in your mind, and then all of a sudden you don't have that experience, and you're like, there's something wrong with me. And that eats at you. Even like in life when you set up like a picture that you want something to go like, and it doesn't go that way.
And I don't do that.
So for like when Willow came, did you beat yourself up over it, or?
I beat myself up over getting an epidural just because I still have pain like from it. I still have a lot of trouble. No, I mostly beat myself up over like, I don't know. I don't think I had time to beat myself. I think that I was in survival mode.
Because she was always like crying.
Oh my gosh, she like, we left the hospital at 30 hours and she literally was was already screaming at the hospital.
So
which I had coffee with creamer and I had chocolate and I had like tons of dairy at the hospital. And then, I mean, I remember her screaming and like all the way home, and I was like, oh my gosh, what did we do?
So go into that, like, how was that, like, for you and Nick? Like,
oh my God, it was so hard. Like, we both cried a lot, and holy resentment, like, it just made things so tense, and like he didn't really know what to do because I was nursing her, but then like the more that she would nurse, the more that she would get a bellyache, and it was just like this vicious cycle. And then I would like get mad at him because like he wasn't doing anything, but like she was stuck to me. And so that,
and then she was colic.
Whole serious resentment with like her waking up and me nursing her and like looking over and seeing Nick sleep. I'd be like, I just want to put a pillow over your face.
Nick's still alive today.
Yes, he is, and he's a very good dad. So,
So for you, for nursing and when she was becoming colic, did that ever want to like stop you? There's such a stigma around breastfeeding. I'm just gonna say that.
Gosh.
Breastfeeding of, you can only breastfeed, you can only, and it's frowned upon if you use formula or if you supplement. If you don't exclusively breastfeed, that's the devil. So for you, did it ever like cross your mind, like we may not be breastfeeding?
No, it did not. Only because, one, I did not know anything about formula at all. Like, I didn't even give that an option in my head, really. But Willow, like, she first time put her on there, bam, latched on. Like, I didn't even have to have a nurse help me. So it was like we were so like blessed in that aspect of it that like her actually physically eating was never a problem. I was like adjusted enough for though, so I nursed her all the time because it was like you have to nurse enough to make enough, and I know that like some people cannot make enough, but I feel like also that some people just aren't like educated on it. I mean, it's hard though, but like I didn't have to go back to work. Like, I mean, I did, but in a different kind of way. Like, I didn't have to be like, okay, I have to leave for 12 hours. What am I going to do? Like, thankfully had the option of, she really only leaves for my shoots, so we have spent a lot of time together, which I'm so thankful for. But no, but I do remember talking to Nick about this. I was like, you know that if Willow was like how she is and I was struggling to nurse her, hell no. Like I would not been able to do it.
Right. It's just so hard for parents to go from, you know, you had a healthy pregnancy and going into, you know, there's not breastfeeding issues, but, you know, the colicky and your diet and stuff. And so that was probably a shock to you guys.
Oh, yeah. Having a child was like, you cannot prepare yourself for that.
Right. And so, like, did you ever reach out to anybody to say, like, I'm going to go crazy? Or did you have that support system?
Oh, my gosh, yes. I'm a talker. I'll talk to anybody about my problems. I don't care. So probably anybody, I'm like, hey, you want to know how miserable I am? My mom and my mother-in-law and my sister, my sister-in-law, my sister Katie, oh my gosh. She's night shift NICU nurse, actually.
Okay,
so on nights,
she understands.
Yes, and on nights that she would have to stay up to like flip-flop for her crazy and like impossibly human schedule that she has to do, she would come down and walk Willow up and down that hallway so I could like sleep a little bit, because some people, I have never done well on no sleep, which was a struggle for me. Like even like in high school and like turning 21 and stuff, I was never like that person that could stay up all night. Like,
yes.
And you don't sleep really.
So what would you say for like parents that are struggling, and they're either one, scared to reach out, or two, don't have anybody?
You can reach out to me.
Well, yeah.
If you have a person like a husband or a wife or a significant other, to just communicate because, and it's hard because it's like, well, for us, I know not everyone is the same, and some people probably do great with their newborns, like, and it's like rainbows and butterflies. It just was not like that for us, and it was a test on our relationship. We were newlyweds too, like we had just gotten married. We had lived together for, I don't know, like a year and a half, like, well, no, after my pregnancy, 2 years maybe. Yeah, 2 years we had lived together. So it was like, it was just a lot of like new that we took on at the same time. But I would say try to find someone to reach out, find a blog, like find someone like of reality to reach out to.
Okay.
Like social media, I love social media, but it is so, like, people's lives are not what they look like on social media with their new babies. Like, everyone, like, oh my gosh, their nursery looks so perfect.
Right.
And, like, it's just, like, everything is so perfect and clean and all white and all cute. And, like, that's amazing. But it's like, I know that your ass is struggling. So, like, let people know, because if like more moms would let other moms know that, it would just be, I don't know.
Be real.
Yeah, so and like no matter what you do, whether you bottle feed or breastfeed or whatever, I mean, it's your decision. And the hospitals really, like, I feel like make you not feel that good if you're But I mean, I know some people also probably don't want to try, and like that's
Right.
their business, and it would be great for their baby, but like don't make people feel bad. Especially lately, I've had some moms come in the studio with newborns that have had some like traumatic experiences,
Right.
and it's like, I don't know. I can be pretty hippy-dippy, so like the whole hospital situation and how that goes down, that's stressful. That is like intense.
Yeah.
It's like,
And especially if you've never been in that situation.
Yes.
If you, one, never had surgery.
yes.
Two, it depends. There's so much that goes into labor and delivery too. But if you've never been, one, into a hospital, and two, if you've never been in the situation where you've had to do everything on your own, there's no rule book for this.
And like, if you don't prepare yourself for something calm, I feel like it can get very like, it's like a proven fact that there's more like intervening like in a hospital because they treat it like a medical emergency, and sometimes yes it is.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I'm not a medical professional though.
But
Yet. No, I'm just kidding.
the thing is to always reach out to anybody, even if you have just depression or anxiety. Postpartum depression is very taboo. People like to bottle it in. Reach out to somebody. The National Depression Hotline is always open 24/7. You can reach out to them. You can reach out to me or Kayla. We're always there. My day job is actually helping parents from pregnancy to 3 years old succeed and have a better life with their children. So anything like that if you guys feel overwhelmed, I know you guys did in the beginning.
And just being home like that.
Especially
like
now during
COVID. Oh my gosh, I was not someone that stayed home, and it was like that, just being like trapped, and you're doing literally the same thing every
day.
couple hours. For months, it's like, whew.
And you're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
Especially because she's your first. So let's go to now.
Oh.
How's motherhood?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I got chills again. It's my favorite thing ever. Like, I would die without her. She's the bomb.
Yes.
She is sassy, but
She's
she
sassy.
is the bomb.
I like what you said though, and you posted about it the other day, about you guys went to Semo.
Yes.
Semo, if you don't know, it's like a little children's museum that we have down here in downtown Evansville.
And they have it super safe right now too.
Yes, so shout out to Semo, sponsor this video.
Take your kids there, it's fun. It's energy.
So Willow had fun, but you posted that, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. There was meltdowns, there was tantrums.
Oh yeah, I like posted these pictures and they were so cute and they were like bright and colorful and she was like smiling and I'm like, this is like really not how our trip went. Like, yeah, we got these cute pictures, but we're in the process of like trying to get her to not have to have that freaking pacifier 24/7. So the whole time we're in there, she's like, Passy! And even like okay, not that dramatic, but every once in a while it got that dramatic. And even the workers were like, oh, you don't need that. We had, there was meltdowns. She wanted her pacifier. There was some exhibits that were closed off, like the climbing ones where you can like.
The fun ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like anything that had the yellow caution tape around it, she like was like, I want to do that. But I was saying, we can't play on that, baby. This is why. And she like did not like that at all. And she was sleepy and she was hungry. And it was like, I cannot post these pictures and be like, we had the best time ever.
Right.
And yeah, so I was like, you cannot judge your motherhood by someone else's highlights on social media. Because
it's not real. Social
not real.
media is what you want to portray. I can portray I have a perfect life. My life has not been perfect at all. Neither has yours. But I love how you come off raw and real, and you want to relate to moms.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure it's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not easy.
Even though she's getting older and she's, potty training and went to her big girl bed. And so.
And then you think about everything that you've done after you do it. You're like, oh my gosh, did I do the right thing? Is she learning enough today? Like, Because sometimes I love to get into the like crafting and like all the, I don't know, that girl's been painting stuff since she was, I mean, just sitting up and doing like activities like that. But then there will be hours when I have to edit or work, like do whatever, where I'm like, here's your tablet, here's a TV, like, sorry.
Mom guilt.
Yeah, and I feel bad. I feel bad about it. But it's like, but then I would feel bad if I sent her to daycare because I wouldn't be with her. It's like, no matter what you do, you feel bad for some reason.
So for your mom guilt, how would you rate, on a scale of like 0 to 10, how would you rate your mom guilt?
I feel like that some people feel a lot guiltier than I do. But maybe like a 4 right now.
But you still have it.
Definitely.
Because even we talk and,
oh, yeah.
you know,
he calls me out. He calls me out on my mom. on my mom.
That's what I'm good at.
Well, he is literally a professional. I mean, you have a degree in education, so I'll be like, am I doing this right?
And that's the thing, like,
help me.
Reaching out to somebody is the biggest thing. Mom guilt will eat at you so hard. I have dog dad guilt of like, oh gosh, they sat in the kennel for four hours today. That's awful. And so I can't even imagine like just like something that would happen. But you can't what if yourself to death. Like, what if this? Because Willow's becoming 2. You still have 16 more years to teach her and develop her, even though probably when she's like 12, she'll be like, I don't even need you.
Oh my gosh, I know. That's why I try to soak it in. I'm like, she's going to hate me one day.
She's going to like Nick better than me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is so crazy. Like, I feel like more than mom guilt, I struggle with, I mean, still sometimes those obsessive thoughts. Like the other night, totally bizarre. Like, this is totally insane. I was laying in bed and oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. My mom and my mother-in-law, who are amazing, are full-time. They're full-time grandma. So Willow will go with them a couple days a week. And like, I could not stop thinking about Willow and my mother-in-law, Patty, getting swooped up into a van in the Mesker Zoo parking lot, like in the middle of the day. It's like daytime in this thought, and like I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. I was crying. Like, it made me cry. It was like I truly felt
like it was happening.
The feeling of not having both of them, so it was like twice as bad. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I actually got out of bed and did some yoga poses. I was like, I gotta switch my brain right now. Gosh.
And that's the thing, like, I'm glad you kind of led there, because movement of your body connects your body with your mind and gets you into your mind, and you're like, okay, what am I thinking about? Like, in that moment, you're like, okay, let's be reasonable here. Let's walk through. And to have that kind of guilt or those kind of thoughts, you know, are normal. Like, you think about those things. Like, that's your world, and you think about those things. And so many parents are like, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's the stereotype of, we grew up in a world of social media. And young moms every day are struggling, and what we really want to do is find community resources that they can utilize for those. So if it's reaching out to a therapist, or it's reaching out to a friend, or finding somebody that does yoga or has another kiddo that you guys can go on like play dates with.
Yeah.
That's really important and strong for them.
Yeah. And right now it's like extra hard because no one's supposed to be around each other.
Yeah, and there's that taboo-ness of that, but we'll get into that later. Another episode. So, for you, what would you suggest, like, for moms, like, if you could suggest number 1 tips for moms to take care of themselves?
Oh my gosh. Do yoga. But for real, stretch. Drink water and eat fruits and vegetables. I'm not kidding. Like, make time for yourself to, and I mean, I still struggle with this, to like meditate and to think about you. And like, there's some days I'll sit down and I'll like I try to thank my body parts. I'm like, thank you feet for like being able to like take me around everywhere. Thank you hands, like thank yourself, like tell yourself that you're enough. Tell yourself that you're doing a good job. Like, I read a quote the other day. I'm going to say it because it's a good one. And it was, do good until you know better, then do better. So it's like, you're doing good, but then if you think that maybe like, okay, I'll use this as an example. Holy super mom guilt. This is like a downward. So I am a big fan of baby wearing, and I had Will strapped on my back at this family event, and we went outside and we were playing baseball, but with like a foam, like wiffle ball, I guess, but like with a foam. It was not a hard baseball, so if she would have got cracked in the head, like it would have been fine. And we're playing this, and I'm playing with like 10-year-olds, but I was like, I want to win this baseball game. And Will was strapped on my back, and I was running these bases, like sprinting. And she's like back there going, go, 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 go. And like, I got done, and we got home, and I had a freaking meltdown. Because like my grandparents were watching, my parents were watching. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just ran like with my baby. Well, this was just a few months. This was for Father's Day. So when she was old, she's going to be 2 next month. So she's big girl.
Right.
I mean, I had like 25 pounds on my back. I was very sore the next day. But like I went into like an emotional freaking meltdown of me like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did that, and I can't believe that these people were watching me, and I bet they think I'm a terrible mom, like and thankfully Nick was like, Kayla, you know, in like the Viking days, like, or Indian, I don't know, whatever, people strap their babies on their back and like had to ride horses and stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right.
You're right.
If you want to think about it that way. But I felt terrible, and I felt so bad. And I even texted my dad, and I was like, please don't think that I'm a bad mom.
Oh.
And he was, I don't know, he sent me some really nice uplifting things, and I was like, okay, like, I mean, I'm sure that was fine, but maybe not, like, do sprints with my baby on my back, so I'll just do better next time. And, like, she was fine. Like, she had a lot of fun. I think she slept really good that night.
And that's the thing, like...
And then, of course, I was like, does she have a concussion? That's why she's sleeping good.
That's the thing, though, like, we freak out, like, health and safety is, like, our top priority.
Yeah.
But then they're having fun.
Yeah.
And so, just getting them outside, like, that was probably the most fun for her that she's had. She was like giggling like this, so going back. And so the mom guilt can eat you alive. So just remembering to take your time. Don't be hard on yourself, you especially. And so I just like talking openly with somebody that's been through it. I have dogs, so I can't really say like, I have dad guilt.
You have a lot of children experience,
I know.
He was a teacher. Don't talk.
Yeah, I had 20 kids. They were my kiddos, and like I worried about them constantly. So I get it. So I just want to say that postpartum depression, momming, is not easy. And if you ever need to reach out to somebody, please do. Yeah. Talking about it will, release all that. We say, I'm going to go on my soapbox right here. So they say shame hides in a dark, dark corner. And so when we talk about shame, it shines a light in the corner, and it doesn't like light, so it starts to shrink. And the more we talk about it, the more shame disappears. Oh, wow. And the more we become open with each other. And we can really start getting stuff done and build a community.
Yeah, because everybody's feeling the same way.
Yes, and I hope you guys can relate. I know you guys will relate to Kayla and many moms out there. So reach out. If you know somebody struggling, you reach out.
Yes.
Maybe it's just like a text or a phone, not a phone call. Who talks on the phone nowadays?
Yeah, really.
Anyway.
No, that gets me excited.
Right? So reach out, and then if you guys have any suggestions for postpartum depression, what you guys did, comment below, shoot an email, text, anything. We'll follow up with that on a blog post. And if you guys have any suggestions for vulnerability, we have a list that we're trying to do. Kayla's going to join me on some of them. Yeah. With some people. That'll be fun.
Come talk to us.
Yes. So thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, thanks.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for letting me.
You're welcome.
I mean, you're just a hot mess when you have a kid, so you need a support system for sure.
Let's be honest, you're a hot mess. Like, everybody's a hot mess all the time.
A freaking hot mess.
Nobody's got it together. Trust me. If they got it together, they don't.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back sometime soon.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.